Hey everyone, Shawn Carey with Migration Productions, and welcome back to Season 3 of Exploring the Natural World. Thanks for tuning in. Today's adventure, I'm going to head back to Cape Cod, and I'm going to visit with my friends at WildCare, and specifically Stephanie Ellis, who's the Executive Director of WildCare. If you watched last year's video of the release of the Atlantic puffin that they helped rescue and rehabilitate, and they released in Provincetown, well, we're going to head back to Provincetown again in today's video, only they're going to be releasing a snowy owl that they've been rehabilitating. In addition to visiting with Stephanie, we're also going to see Norman Smith again. Norman Smith is the founder of the Snowy Owl Project for the Massachusetts Audubon Society. And Norman's coming down to ban the bird, and he's going to be the one actually releasing the bird back into the wild. So I'm really excited to see Stephanie and Norman today. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you do, please hit the like button and subscribe so you don't miss any future videos here on Exploring the Natural World. So here we go, let's head off to Cape Cod and see the release of a snowy owl back into the wild. Here we go. Okay, so I made it down to WildCare here in Eastham, which is right off the Orleans Rotary. We're going to interview my good friend Stephanie Ellis, who's the Executive Director here at WildCare. We're going to do that over in the Elliptical Aviary, which is where the snowy owl is right now. They've been rehabilitating this bird for some time. Stephanie's going to give us a rundown on how the bird arrived here and a little bit about what they've been doing to rehabilitate this bird. Again, Norman Smith's going to show up. He's going to ban the bird, then off to Provincetown to release this snowy owl back into the wild. So let's go over to the Elliptical Aviary and have a talk with Stephanie Ellis. Here we go.
Hi, my name is Stephanie Ellis. I'm the Executive Director of WildCare. WildCare is a wildlife rehabilitation center located on Cape Cod in Eastham. We are dedicated to taking care of sick, orphaned, and injured wildlife for release back into the wild. We also do a lot of public education and outreach to help prevent wildlife casualties and to teach people how to coexist with your backyard wildlife. I have an amazing, dedicated staff of 8 who work tirelessly year-round to take care of these animals. And also, we couldn't do our work without our volunteers. We have a group of over 200 volunteers who come in for shifts every week to help us with the animals. We are a nonprofit organization, and therefore we rely on the public's donations and support. So we received this snowy owl from Provincetown on January 27th. We've had her in our care for over a month. And what happened was she was found on a shore in Provincetown, and she was being attacked by crows. And then the people who were watching her saw her fly to a small jetty of rocks. And then she attempted to fly back to the shore and basically fell into the water. So the people watching knew, that's not normal snowy owl behavior, and so they knew something was very wrong. And this is a January day, it's freezing, and one of the finders actually went into the icy water and retrieved the owl. And then they brought the owl to us. And so what we found was that this bird had some really deep puncture wounds on one of her wings. There was severe swelling. She was really down and out, dehydrated, weak. And so what we needed to do was put her on antibiotics and pain management. And it's interesting because at first the wing was so swollen, and we took an x-ray and we could barely see any bones at the joint because of the swelling. But after a day of fluids and pain management, we could actually see that there were no fractures there. So that was a relief. For the past few weeks, she has been in our large Raptor Aviary. And this is to make sure, we want to make sure that she can grab her food efficiently, that she's flying evenly, that she's a strong flyer, and that she exhibits appropriate behaviors. She needs to be fearful of humans, which she is. And so she has checked all the boxes for release. And so today we are taking her to Provincetown, back where she was found, and we're planning for the release. It's an exciting day. You never know how releases are going to go, but she's so strong, really strong bird, and so we are hoping for the best. I'm standing in our special Raptor Aviary. We often call it our elliptical aviary because it's elliptical in shape. But what is so special about this aviary is that it has 3 inner chambers, 3 inner aviaries, and then we have this outer, I refer to it as an outer shell. So this outer aviary forms a continuous loop. So when we have birds in here like the snowy owl or other raptors, they can make continuous flights. I call it the raptor treadmill. And this really enables us to see, can they fly evenly? Can they fly strongly? Do they drop to the ground to hide? Do they exhibit normal behaviors? And so this space really shows us if they're ready for release into the wild. And you can see also that there are high ceilings, there's lots of natural light, and there's lots of shelter, but also this building allows some of the elements to come in. So it truly gets birds conditioned for life back in the wild. And in terms of the size, we actually can house bald eagles in this building. It meets the minimum requirements for their care.
My name is Norman Smith. I actually work for Mass Audubon part-time. I'm the raptor specialist. I work out of the Blue Hills. I actually worked for Mass Audubon for 50 years and retired, and just started to work doing raptor stuff part-time again. I started back in 1981 working with snowy owls at Logan Airport, and during that course of time I've relocated over 850 snowy owls from Logan Airport. And this has been another incredible winter for snowy owls. This year I've actually banded and relocated 53 snowy owls so far, and in an average winter I usually catch 10 to 12 birds. We've learned that snowy owls come here not because there's no food up north, but it means it was a banner breeding year for the owls. The majority of owls that come down here are young birds, and when they come from the Arctic, they're not coming here because there's no food up north. When they get here, they're in good condition. And one of the misnomers people have is that these birds, when they find them, are birds that are going to be emaciated and sick, and certainly rehab centers, when they look at those birds, they say, yeah, here birds are coming into the state and they're underweight, they're, have issues with them, but you have to catch wild birds in order to know what the weight factor is and how the condition of these birds is. And out of the 53 snowy owls that I've actually captured so far this winter, the majority of them have been in excellent condition. There's been a few birds that have been underweight, but that's normally going to happen. And the birds that are probably in the best condition at all are birds that aren't even showing up in my database because they're not hungry and I'm not even capturing them. So snowy owls that come here are birds that are in good condition coming from the Arctic, and we know that these birds do make it back to the Arctic. Starting in 2000, I actually put satellite transmitters on snowy owls, wintering snowy owls for the first time, and we proved that these birds do make it back to the Arctic, and they do return at some point years later. I had one bird that I brought up to Parker River and released with Shawn Carey, and that bird actually went up to Nunavut, stayed there for the summer, and 9 months later it came back to Logan Airport, and during that 9-month time it traveled 7,426 miles. We thought they lived to be 10 to 12 years old. However, I caught a snowy owl 4 years ago that had a band on its leg, and when I looked it up, it was a bird that I banded 24 years ago, so we know they can live to be at least 24. And you have to wonder how many times that snowy owl may have come back to Massachusetts during that time frame. I doubt it was just the time I caught it when it was a young bird and when I captured it as an adult. So one of the questions that people often ask is, what's the biggest detriment to birds like snowy owls that come here in the wintertime? And certainly one of the problems that they have is, if they come to a place like airports, would be getting caught in a jet blast or being hit by a plane, electrocution, injuries that happen to other raptors. But one of the big things that we're seeing in a lot of raptors, especially here in Massachusetts, is rodenticide poisoning. They actually eat these rodents that have been eating bait from a bait station. They come out, they're very lethargic, they're easy captures. These birds capture them, it builds up in their system, and it actually kills them. They bleed to death internally. And if you listen and look at the labels on the rodenticides, it says that there's no secondary effects on these products, but in fact there is. Not only does it kill raptors, but it also kills other mammalian predators, coyotes and foxes, raccoons, and even house cats and dogs as well. So this is an issue that certainly needs to be addressed, and we need to use less of these rodenticides.
Yep.
Highly professional device you've rigged up here.
Absolutely. In most cases, if we say to her, gee, do you think you could sit on this scale so we can get your weight, it's just not going to happen. It's going to take right off. She weighs 1836. So it has serial number on there. You can actually see it's like your social security number. Stays with the bird for the rest of its life. So if anybody ever encounters it again, we'll know where it came from and maybe where it goes and even how long it might live. One of the things we do is we actually put a band on, and these bands we actually use are actually a rivet band, and they're actually riveted with a stainless steel rivet so that the bird can't take the band off. And because it's a stainless steel rivet, you have to use a hydraulic rivet gun because these rivets are so strong. You always make sure that the band is loose on the bird's legs so it doesn't interfere with the bird. These birds, you can tell that they can put, a band on the bird after the bird is about 6 weeks old because their legs are not going to get any bigger than they are.
They're full size.
The next thing we want to do is, besides get a weight on the bird, so what we do is you get a wing cord on this bird. So it's 450, and the tail is 210. This bird here is actually a hatch-year bird, so she was probably born in June of last year. The last year. So according to the banding lab, this bird would actually be what we consider a 2-year-old bird, because anything after January 1st is year 2, even though the bird really, at that point in time, is only 6 months old.
So it goes by calendar year.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yep. Oh, in a matter of a second, the gulls are all going to be here and everything else, too.
All right, we're good.
Ready? Here she is, ready for release.
Yay! Oh my God, that was amazing. Please stay out of the road.
Stay out of the road, don't eat any poison rats.
So there you have it. The snowy owl was released back into the wild here at Herring Cove, and it was heading out towards Race Point here in Provincetown. I want to thank again Stephanie Ellis, the Executive Director of Wild Care, and my good friend Norman Smith with the Massachusetts Audubon Society. If you'd like to make a donation to Wild Care, I'll leave that link below. And if you'd like to make a donation to the Snowy Owl Project and help Norman out with his work, I'll leave that link. As always, remember, help protect wildlife and help protect wild places. Cheers.